Taking a road trip with your cat? I know, it might sound a little bit challenging, maybe even a little crazy, but honestly, with the right prep, it can be a really fun, rewarding experience for both of you. So, let's dive into exactly how you can make that happen.
So, you're kicking around the idea of hitting the open road with your feline friend, right? It's a fantastic thought, but I get it. You're probably thinking, cats and cars, they don't always mix. And yeah, there are some totally valid concerns, from their safety to their stress levels.
But here's the good news, and really the main takeaway from all of this. It can absolutely be a great, stress-free adventure. The secret? It's all about preparation. Seriously, that's it. Planning ahead is the magic ingredient that turns a potentially chaotic trip into a smooth, easy ride. And that brings us right to our first big topic. The most important work you're going to do for this trip happens way before you ever even think about turning the key in the ignition. Let's break down all that essential pre-trip prep. First things first, you gotta know your travel buddy. I mean, really know them. Is your cat generally pretty chill and collected, or does a new person walking into the house send them diving under the bed? Just observing their personality gives you a massive head start on figuring out what they'll need to stay comfy on the road.
Okay, this slide is huge because it's all about reframing the carrier. For most cats, that thing is a scary box that only comes out for trips to the vet. We need to change that. You want to turn it into their own personal safe space, their little mobile apartment. So start by just leaving it open in the living room. Then toss some treats in there, maybe their favorite toy. You're building a positive vibe around it. The end goal is for them to see the carrier not as a trap, but as their own little den.
And before any big trip, a quick visit to the vet is an absolute must. This is your chance to talk through your travel plans, get a professional health check, and ask about things like medications for anxiety or motion sickness. Plus, depending on where you're headed, you might need a health certificate, and your vet is the person who can get that for you. All right, with that initial prep work handled, let's talk about the fun stuff. Gear. We're going to cover how to pick the perfect carrier and exactly what you need to pack to make sure your cat has everything they need for a comfortable trip. So when it comes to carriers, you basically have two main choices, and they each have their pros. The soft-sided ones, they're all about convenience, super lightweight, easy to carry, and can squish into different spaces. On the other hand, the hard-sided carriers, well, they offer way better protection and are much more durable. Plus, if there's an accident, they're usually a lot easier to clean. The best one for you really just depends on your cat and the kind of trip you're taking. Think of this as your cat's official go bag, and these items, totally non-negotiable. You've got to have their regular food to avoid any tummy troubles, plus some extra just in case. Plenty of water, of course, and some portable bowls. And yep, a portable litter box is a must-have. But maybe most important are the familiar things, their favorite blanket or a beloved toy. Those smells from home make a huge difference. Okay, so we've prepped, we've packed. Now for the most critical part of the entire journey, safety. Once that car is moving, nothing, and I mean nothing, is more important than making sure your cat is safe and secure. So here is the number one rule, the golden rule. Your cat stays in the carrier. I know it's tempting to let them out, but the absolute safest place for them is inside that carrier, with the carrier buckled in by a seatbelt. This keeps it from sliding around, tipping over, or worse, becoming a projectile if you have to slam on the brakes. No exceptions on this one. And this quote really just says it all, doesn't it? This isn't just a friendly suggestion. It is the fundamental rule of traveling with your pet, because all the fancy toys and comfy blankets in the world don't mean a thing if your little buddy isn't secure in the car. So let's move on. Let's talk about managing the actual time on the road. This is where we get into the nitty-gritty of keeping your cat comfortable, calm, and healthy while you're driving. Here's a super simple but incredibly effective pro tip. Don't let your cat travel with a big, full belly. But you also don't want him to be starving. The sweet spot is a small, light meal a few hours before you hit the road. This one little trick can make a massive difference in preventing car sickness. Hydration is just as key for your cat as it is for you on a long drive. You'll want to keep an eye out for these signs of dehydration, like if they seem unusually tired or their gums look dry. The fix is easy. Every time you pull over for a rest stop to stretch your legs, make sure you offer your cat some fresh water. So what if your cat starts getting anxious? Don't panic. You've got a whole toolbox of things you can try. Sometimes, just your calm presence, speaking in a soft voice, some gentle pets through the carrier can work wonders. That familiar blanket you packed? Its scent can be super comforting. You can also try playing some calming music or white noise. And things like Feline spray, which mimics calming cat pheromones, can be really effective too. Just make sure to chat with your vet before trying any new products. Let's just focus on car sickness for a second, because I know it's a huge worry for a lot of people. It's a very real physical reaction to motion, and it can make your cat feel absolutely awful.
Knowing what to look for, like drooling or signs of distress, is really the first step to helping them through it.
And this chart just lays out the game plan perfectly. I love this. On the left, you see the problem, the symptoms to watch out for. And right there on the right, you've got a direct, simple solution for each one. From timing their meals to planning for regular breaks, these steps can make all the difference. And hey, if you know your cat is prone to getting sick, talking to your vet about medication ahead of time is always a smart move.
Okay, you made it. Phew. But believe it or not, the journey isn't quite over yet. Our last section is all about how to handle arriving at your destination and, eventually, the trip back home, to make sure the entire trip is a success from beginning to end.
When you get to your hotel or rental, don't just open the carrier and let your cat have the run of the whole place. That can be super overwhelming for them. Instead, you're going to create a little base camp. Start with one quiet room. Set up all their stuff, litter box, bed, water, and fill it with those familiar smelling toys and blankets you brought. This gives them a safe, secure spot to decompress and get used to the new surroundings.
And then, when the adventure is over and you're finally back home, the magic word is routine. Just jump right back into their normal feeding times, play times, all of it. Keep an eye on their behavior, of course, but getting back to that familiar schedule is the fastest way to help them settle in and realize they're back in their own safe, happy place.
So there you have it. You now have the complete roadmap for an amazing car trip with your cat. It really does just come down to being thoughtful, preparing ahead of time, and always putting their safety and comfort first. So, the only question left is, where are you and your furry co-pilot going to go first?